The news we've been waiting for is here. Aaron Judge remaining in pinstripes, 9 years, $360 million, as first reported by JP Morosi. Harold Reynolds, good morning to you both. How did this get done in the wee hours, 5:20 Pacific time?
Yes, Lauren, daybreak here in San Diego, and we have significant news. Aaron Judge back to the Yankees on a 9-year deal, as you mentioned, Lauren. At the end of the day, I'm told he had higher offers elsewhere. He wanted to be a Yankee. And yes, he did come here to the West Coast yesterday. There were a lot of reports back and forth. Was he going to be here? Was he not? He did. He came to close the deal, Harold. And interestingly to me was the Padres got in at the last hour. Jeff Passan reported on that for ESPN. So just an extraordinary bit of news, Harold, and Aaron Judge back where he began, back where he belongs.
Well, you should have teams jumping in on Aaron Judge, but this is great for baseball.
Yeah.
I mean, at the end of the day, we've watched so many players leave their legacy to get paid. He stayed home. Look, this is the Yankees. If the Yankees can't keep their own homegrown players, where's the sport going? And this is a powerful statement by Hal Steinbrenner and the Yankees, powerful commitment from Aaron Judge that he grew up in this organization. This is what the sport is about. You know, and I'm thrilled. You can argue San Francisco had a great offer, San Diego, why didn't he go? And I'm sure fan bases from all across the country would love to have him. But he's a Yankee, and they did the right thing.
Do you think this was in his mind all along? When he turned down the offer preseason, when we talked about the numbers and we've been debating back and forth, this was in the back of his mind, or it just came down to best offer?
No, this is I wanted to be here. He could have left.
Yeah.
And I'm sure there was some angst and some bitterness along the way, how this broke originally, not taking the offer and the way it went down with Cashman's press conference and telling all the details. That was all real. But we've all been in situations where you grow up, home is home. You may be bitter, you may have some disputes, but man, when you go home and you sit down and you think about, do I want to stay home? Yes, you want to stay home. Lauren ran off to college, but at the end of the day, she still wanted to go home, and home is home.
Yeah.
And that's what this story is about for me.
You talk about the details that were out there, and we've learned a lot of the numbers, right, JP? A lot of the offers. Did we know too much, or was this normal?
That's a great question. I think to your point on opening day, it was a little surreal to hear those details announced by Brian Cashman at the press conference on opening day. I was sitting there at Yankee Stadium, and it was a little uncommon, to say the very least. But at the end of the day, Lauren, a couple things. Number one, Aaron Judge, by turning that down, he got more than $100 million more.
Yep.
More than $100 million more by turning that down, and then, of course, going out and putting together the American League single-season record for home runs. And, Harold, to your point, you think about connections and the winter meetings and the history of this event. It was 11 years ago today that Albert Pujols left the Cardinals for the Angels. 11 years ago, the morning of December 7th, on this date, 11 years ago. It's a very different story now.
Well, and you think about that. Let's just take Albert, because there's been so many. Harper, we saw Trey Turner bounce around. We've watched Scherzer leave, go. We've seen so many players do it. But think about when Albert went back to St. Louis 2 years ago. And then he played there last year.
It all felt right, didn't it?
And everybody's like, oh, my God, this is amazing. When he left St. Louis, I was destroyed. He went to Anaheim. I get it. You got paid. But he was a Cardinal. And when he goes to Cooperstown, that's going to be on his plaque. You know, Aaron Judge is going, we're watching a Hall of Famer. You know, we're watching a Hall of Fame generation. You don't do contracts like Harper for 13 years, Trey Turner the other day for 11, Manny Machado, without going to Cooperstown. They're going to have time and numbers accumulated that put them in the Hall. So Aaron Judge, regardless of what deal he took, San Francisco, San Diego, Yankees, at the end of his career, he's going to be in Cooperstown. He's having a speech because he's going to have the years and the numbers are going to put you there. So where do you want to be, Aaron? You want to be your plaque to be a Yankee? That's what this is about for me.
And Harold, you know where I want to be? At that Giants-Yankees series early next season. That's on the schedule. Think about that. Those two teams meeting. And certainly if Aaron Judge had gone to the Giants, it was his hometown team, there were those elements of the story. We talked about this yesterday, where if you wanted to believe there was a possibility for him to leave, a lot of the facts lined up that made you believe it was possible. But at the end of the day,
honestly, I'm shocked.
Yeah.
I thought he was going to San Fran. I didn't think there was a shot he was going back to New York.
This is the news we've been waiting for, and the lobby is just buzzing here. This from Jeff Passan of ESPN. Aaron Judge flew into San Diego. JP, that's exactly what you said at the last minute to decide among three teams, the Yankees, the Giants, and the Padres. The Yankees bumped the offer to 9 years and $360 million. That is where they landed, and in the end, Judge decided that he wanted to remain a Yankee. This from Jack Curry. More reaction on Twitter early this morning on the West Coast on Sunday. The Yankees were in the 8-year, $300 million range in the Judge negotiations across the last few days. They obviously had to up the ante and push hard.
So
to
we're
get the
saying
deal
1 year, $60 more million.
in a couple of days. How do we
Come
get
on
that?
now. Really, come on now.
but H, think
So
about
what are you
this.
saying? That it was all along?
That's ridiculous. What I'm saying is you don't go from 8 at 300
To 9
9
and
to
360.
You threw $60 million.
Unless,
in a
Harold,
year and a half.
unless the Yankees looked at this with clear eyes and said, without him, we are not competitive with the Astros. Let's remember this. With him, they were swept. And they've now lost Jamison Taillon from the rotation. This is a team that, when you look at Houston, and I realize that the Astros have lost Verlander, but to me, at the offseason, when we're covering the meetings, you always have to keep in mind that scoreboard, the pluses and minuses on the power teams in this sport, and who is getting stronger, who is getting weaker. And the reality is, without this man, I don't see them being able to compete with the Astros in 2023.
Well, without him, they don't get to the playoffs. But the pivot for me, since we'll talk pivot, is because the guys went off the board, DeGrom and Verlander, it affected. The Yankees have to pitch.
Right.
So if I don't get Aaron Judge, and I'm sitting here going, I got $300 million, I'm going to start going get the best pitchers out there, and I'm going to outpitch you like the Astros did to win a World Series. That's it.
But and a quick note on that, you mentioned Verlander and Scherzer. Of course, right now, Aaron Judge at $40 million for his average annual value. That's the record for any position player in the history, surpassed only by a couple pitchers.
I'm sorry, but
Scherzer.
it's about time. We keep paying pitchers over $1 million a game, and they play 30 games. This guy's playing a full season. Think about that. If it was we talk about annual value, the average value. Mm-hmm. This guy's playing 160 games. They're playing 30, and they're making $40 million a year. And now we're going, oh man, he's the highest paid position player at $40 million. He's making way less than those pitchers on the average.
Right. And Harold, I'll add
per
this
game.
too.
I'm looking
You're
at
right.
per game. I'm not looking at like over a course of a season.
And so now one of the most important players on the Yankees, in my opinion, becomes Harrison Bader. Because if Bader can play center field every day, which of course we know he's an elite center fielder, but he's got to stay healthy. Because if Bader can stay healthy, then the Yankees can take care of Judge a little better with his workload in 2023 than they did last year.
Well, he's
playing
not playing
center
right
field,
anyway.
I mean, that's the thing. You have to now keep him healthy for 9 years. And the way you do that is by giving him rest, making sure he's on a corner when possible.
No.
What do you think?
No, don't give me the workload thing. He doesn't hit 62 home runs with workload. You got a workhorse, and put him in right, and you say play.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Center field was a lot of demand on his body during the course of the year. And
Yeah.
I think Aaron Boone, the way they organized their lineup late in the year, getting him some DH days and getting him out of center field, that's a lot of running to do for a center field.
I'm with you, but I'm just saying the year before, when Aaron Judge got hot, they sit him. He'd get on a tear for 5 days. They go, he's been on the base too much. Just sit. I'm sorry. But when that's the sport of baseball, you condition to play 162 games. You get hot, you play. You sit me when I'm struggling.
Right.
Now don't sit me when I'm hot. And so I think they have to sit down and really go, what is Aaron Judge? What made this season so great? Mm-hmm. Aaron, the biggest bet was, okay, I'll play center.
Yeah.
I'll show you I can play every day. And you want to put me in the most difficult place? I'll be there.
Right.
Now you put him in right field, and you let him play the game. And when he needs a day or so, let him DH.
I'll say
but
this
he's got to
too.
be on the field.
I agree. The overall story of these meetings, in a lot of ways to me, is that teams will still pay, as they always have, for superstars. When you are special, you get paid. Mm-hmm. Judge, obviously, Verlander, setting a record among pitchers, Trey Turner. there are superstars in this game, and especially Judge. We think about, and Harold, you made a great point off the top of this segment. People will buy tickets to watch Aaron Judge play baseball, and people will tune in to watch Aaron Judge play baseball. He is a special player in the sports world in our country, and he's playing in the brightest lights of New York and doing certainly an extraordinary job of that.
You come in from Europe and you go to New York.
Absolutely.
And people
You're
go,
spot on.
I got to go out to Yankee Stadium. But they're going, I want to go see Aaron Judge. You know how many people came to New York and wanted to see Jeter? I mean, Derek can't go anywhere across the world. And this guy's 6'7". You think he's hiding on his flight right
Imagine
now?
him just going
No
to
way.
Starbucks. Just going to Starbucks in New York. And we've heard that the Yankees front office has assured Judge that they can afford more, to your point. So
Right.
we'll see what's next
They're
for the
the
Yankees.
Yankees.
Yes, they are.